You still walk home every day? You see boys on the street, don't you? She sounded serious, and somewhat angry, too. The only boys I see are the ones who kick stray dogs and run around like hooligans. I don't meet them, I avoid them. I wanted to add that if she was so interested in boys, she should go out more. But I bit back my retort because it wasn't Liesel's fault that she had weak lungs or phlegmatic bronchial tubes or whatever the current illness might be. Moody fussed constantly over her, which in my opinion did her no good, but the fact remained that my sister was delicate, and she embraced the condition wholeheartedly. I only ask because I'm concerned, she said. I don't mean to pry. But you'll be 13 this year, almost a woman, and boys, well, they tend to... Her voice faded into uncomfortable silence. Returning the violin, I pondered what she'd said, and more important, what she had not. Liesel's experience with the opposite sex mirrored my own. Since our father's demise, the only man we saw with regularity was our Uncle Willy in Berlin. But I didn't point this out because Liesel and I weren't close, not as siblings should be. We weren't antagonistic either. We shared a bedroom and rarely quarreled. But our temperaments were so disparate that even Moody remarked on it. Physically, the differences were apparent. Liesel was thin and wan, like a faded lamp under a shade, with our father's sallow complexion. I'd inherited Moody's plump build, her blue eyes, upturned nose, and near-translucent skin that turned as red as a beet if I stayed out in the sun for too long. But our differences ran deeper than that. As I'd grown older, I began to realize that my reticence in public was due to Moody's drilling into me that it was how girls ought to behave. She never had to remind Liesel, to whom it came naturally. Calling attention to herself terrified my sister. It was why she never left home except for our Sunday social calls, trips to the market, and monthly outings to Berlin. Are you saying boys might tease me? I said with a deliberate lift of my eyes. She went rigid on her chair, betraying the fact that it was precisely what she was trying to say. Do they? She breathed. No, or at least not that I've noticed. I paused. Why? Should I? Notice, that is? Never. She was appalled. If they ever tease you or say something improper, you must ignore them and tell Moody at once. I will. I caressed my bow across the strings. I promise. I wasn't lying. No boy had paid me any mind, but today, someone had. And I knew the way she'd made me feel wasn't something I should admit to. Your secret is safe with me. I'd never had a secret before. I intended to keep it. Moody arrived at precisely 7:05. We'd already cleared the table of Liesel's study materials and set it with our chipped ceramic dishware, as the Miesen porcelain was reserved for special occasions. I was heating up a pot of weiße Bohnensuppe, a white bean potage I'd prepared the day before. Moody refused to let the maid do any cooking and had put me in charge of our daily supper. I enjoyed cooking and was better at it than Liesel, who always ended up with a scorched sauce or an underdone roast. Much like playing music, I found a soothing orderliness in following a recipe, from mixing specific ingredients just so to create a desired result. Moody had trained me herself, but as with everything else, she did not trust anyone's skills but her own, coming directly to the kitchen with her hat and gloves still on to peer into the pot. More salt, she pronounced, and reduce the flame, otherwise it'll turn to mush. Turning away, she went to her bedroom. She emerged minutes later in her house dress and apron, her dark blonde hair coiled at the nape of her neck. I'd never seen Moody with her hair loose, not even when she used the washroom. Unbound tresses were not something widows showed, it seemed. How was school today? She asked as she directed me to bring the potage to the table. Good, I replied. She nodded. I wondered whether she'd notice if I told